What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the very first Talking Ballax in Added Time. New segment that we're going to try out, where basically we're just going to do some quick reactions to things, some shorter sort of content and videos for you to be enjoying from us. Yeah, on the back of the Manchester United versus Chelsea game, Manchester United have qualified for the Champions League. Back in the Champions League, Erik ten Hag. It has to be said now, he's had a pretty good season, pretty good first season, because it really does feel like an age ago that they were beaten 4-0 at Brentford, like Ronaldo for 4-0 down at half time against Brentford. And it's a good season. I mean, if they win the FA Cup, it might even go down as an incredible first season for a manager in the Premier League. So, genuinely, I think Ten Hag's got to get some credit. I mean, it's four. They've won 4-0 tonight. Ironically, that was the score against Brentford where everyone sort of turned around and said maybe they won't get Champions League. So there's an irony to that, I think. Started off strongly, giving Casemiro's goal. After that, I thought Chelsea really, I mean, first half, Chelsea will probably feel a bit aggrieved that they went in 2-0 down, actually. So, interesting one. That Mudryk early chance right before the goal would have put them 1-0 up. And I don't know, like, with Mikhailo Mudryk, like, there's a player in there who's technically so gifted, but I don't know, 85 million, maybe not for me. But there's a lot of missed opportunities for United as well. Like if Martial and Sancho had their first touches, like sorted out early doors, could have been 2 or 3 nil. They had some really big early chances. So, you know, but Chelsea, I don't know. There's just something about them. Like when you think about the money they've spent, they're far too open. They're far too easy to play against. They're like, I mean, we'll get on to his performance in the second half, but first half, like, I felt a little bit bad for Fofana. Like, I feel like he was left really exposed, really out in the open. There was numerous times there were 2-3-on-1 against him, and that was in some of those situations where the first touch let them down. So, yes, it's one of them where first half I felt bad for Fofana, but second half, we'll get on to that. We'll get on to Wesley Fofana in the second half, but the Anthony injury, is a worry. I thought he had a decent game until he went off. I thought he was doing things quite simply, quite straightforward, as opposed to normal where he likes to try and like jink his way in between a lot of, maybe even do so too much sometimes. I thought actually Anthony was pretty good. Was pretty good today. But yeah, his injury might be a worry for the cup final. I don't think Ten Hag wanted to play Rashford as early as he did, but Rashford ended up having quite a big influence on the game. But again, like before the second goal goes in, there's a chance. Lewis Hall, fantastic in the first half again. And not that I like to plug, particularly for Man City. Not that I like to plug for some of these clubs, but Man City have got dying out for a proper left back, and Lewis Hall looks like he could go on to be the real deal one day. I mean, like there's definitely a player in there, and Man City looking for a left back, and Chelsea will be looking to ship players out maybe, and the new manager might not see Lewis Hall in his plans. It depends. Are they going to go for a man? If Pochettino is the man, are they going to go sort of developmental, or are they going to try and go for somebody who wants to win straight away? And I think developmental under Pochettino, Hall could be fantastic. But if they go for a winner, like a Conte, Tuchel style manager, Mourinho style manager, then actually I think that Hall might be somebody who maybe is sent out on loan, or maybe doesn't get the minutes that he needs. He's a fantastic footballer. And he put the ball in. Havertz, in between the posts, heads it wide. I mean, he's not a striker, Kai Havertz. So there's definitely a player in there. Again, very technically gifted, but he's not a striker. And it baffles me that Chelsea don't have a striker when they have got one. Like Lukaku's out on loan and Inter, and But again, another chance. Gallagher had a shot, goes across goal. Too many chances spurned for Chelsea. I mean, every time I seem to watch them, and Chelsea fans, correct me if I'm wrong, but it just looks like you can't score. Like in the first half, you were well in that game, and you just looked like you couldn't score. You just couldn't finish to save your life. You're just crying out for a striker. And the only one you've got, the top class one you've got, you sent out on loan. So, but yeah, and then obviously, really towards the end of the second half, it was against the run of play. Casemiro with a lovely chip over the top, and no one tracks Sancho's poor defending. Probably Lewis Hall at fault for that. So kind of little pinch of salt on what I said before, but yeah, it was against the run of play. But United going at 2-0 at half time, and genuinely I think that's where the game's done. Like this Chelsea team don't have the fight or the bottle in them to really pull that back. They got nothing to play for, whereas United did. So, but then second half was second half was a bit of a felt a bit pre-seasony, didn't it? It felt like everything was done and dusted. And the Bruno penalty, very soft. I mean, I know Bruno Fernandes gets a bit of bad flack. He's a fantastic player, but this is why so many people dislike him, because he lets himself down with his antics sometimes. And don't get me wrong, for Fofana, he got Megs, like brilliant bit of skill by Fernandes. He has a little bit of a nibble at him. It's the faintest of touches, and Fernandes is just too. He has a chance to go in and score, but he knows he's probably more likely to score from the spot. And I mean, with the way that modern football works, you can't fault him for it, but you can fault him for it. Like, he's such a good player; he doesn't need the antics to be better than everyone else. He already is a phenomenal player, and it's so frustrating, and it makes him an unlikable player. But and then not long after that, Chelsea just collapsed. So Fofana at fault for the first goal, like just a lazy tackle, has a little bit of a swipe at him. There's not a lot of contact, but it's lazy. And then he gives the ball away, and he's all over the shop. Then he overcompensates to try and get it back. He sort of dives in. Rashford just goes past him. Unlucky with the first shot. It's a poor finish, to be fair, the first one, and then gets lucky with the follow up. But that's 4-0. And honestly, I thought on the balance of the game, actually, maybe United deserved a heavy win. I don't know about, and it could have ended up being 6-7 in the end. United spurned quite a lot of chances. Like, Fernandes hit the bar, McTominay had one save, like that one from Garnacho that Kepa hit his foot and went over the bar. So there was some, I think it could have ended up being a really, really embarrassing defeat for Chelsea, more so than it was. But they got a little shred of quality in João Felix, and he is some player, honestly, and he will get a top move. Whether he stays at Atletico, whether he goes somewhere else, João Felix will be at a top club next year. He's a fantastic player. But on the balance, now the season for both of these clubs is pretty much done now. It's basically that battle between Newcastle and Manchester United to see who finishes third or fourth. There's still that to play for, because I don't think anybody really wants to go into those early round qualifiers. But if you're a Chelsea fan, and you get the right manager in, there is some elements that should excite you. I think somebody like Pochettino could get the best out of some of these really young players you've got. They're crying out for some genuine quality coaching, but they need a huge shake-up. A lot of these players need moving on. Like Azpilicueta, great right back for years, but he's probably gone now. Like, I think if Lewis Hall's not going to be part of the plan next year, loan him out to another Premier League team, get him some minutes. Loftus-Cheek, not really. I don't see a lot in David Fofana. Ziyech probably doesn't really want to be there. And they're just ones I can think of off the top of my head, but there's a lot of players there that you don't really. I think Chelsea need to overhaul that squad a little bit and really invest in the youth they've got. And to be fair, the opposite with United. I think tonight showed that actually United, with the right kind of investment, not just throwing money at it, but the right kind of investment into the right areas in their team, centre forward, like a proper centre forward, centre back, maybe another quality wide player, just an upgrade on Martial. Maybe Garnacho has quality, but maybe isn't quite ready yet. And I actually think United could pose a bit more of a threat to the top next season, but that's we'll go through the predictions later in a podcast soon. But I don't know. I think maybe I was wrong, but it was very much evidence of a long season, lots and lots of heavy touches, lots of kind of rusty looking players. I think it feels so long ago, that game where United lost 4-0 to Brentford, so long ago. So yeah, long season. And I think United will be happy that they've got it wrapped up before the final day. They can rest a few players, be ready to go for the FA Cup final where they get to protect their legacy. So, but yeah, this was the first Talking Balax in Added Time. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please give us feedback. We really, really appreciate the feedback. We've got lots of positives and also some constructive stuff from people. We want to know what you want to hear, so let us know. Let us know if you like these shorter videos that we're going to start doing. But I've been Jack. You've been listening to Talking Balax. I'll see you soon.